So today's video is another unsolved murder, and today we are talking about Jennifer Kealy. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. If I'm not, then I'm really sorry. So Jennifer was described as a normal mother who was very house proud and enjoyed taking her children to the park. She raised her young family with her partner at the time and enjoyed her life as a mother. The family lived in Kent at this time. However, Jennifer's life turned upside down shortly after giving birth to her third son in 1994. Sometime after this, Jennifer and her partner split and he gained custody of all three children. Then after this, Jennifer just completely disappeared without any contact with the family. To top this all off, her body was found on January 22nd, 2005. Now, a timeline was put together. So after Jennifer left Kent, she moved to Brighton, where she sold The Big Issue. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically a magazine that is distributed by the charity itself to people who are homeless or are at risk of homelessness. Then following this in 2003, Jennifer moved to Canterbury and stayed in a sheltered housing scheme run by Scrine Foundation, I think. I hope that's correct anyway, I'm sorry if it's not. The chief executive of the organisation, who was Lloyd Hubbard Mitchell, described Jennifer as cooperative, non-aggressive or angry, and very clean. Jennifer left Canterbury in 2004 and headed to Eastbourne, where she befriended a woman who she stayed with and had access to baths. It is said that Jennifer was often seen on the seafront close to Beachy Head in Eastbourne, UK, late at night. She had no issues with drugs or alcohol. Now, police believe that in the early hours of the morning on the 22nd of January, when Jennifer was sadly murdered, they believe that she was walking along the seafront when she was most likely confronted by her killer. They went on to say that her body was partially burnt, possibly in order to try and get rid of any evidence, and if that wasn't horrific enough, she had also been stabbed 16 times and had also been sexually assaulted. Jennifer was just 35 years old, and the killer had done this by building a makeshift bonfire in the shelter. This is where Jennifer's story gets even more heartbreaking. Her former partner and her children had tried to send messages to her to say that she was still loved, but these attempts failed. As for the police investigation, police have no idea for certain as to the events that took place in the early hours of 22nd January 2005. But what they do know for a fact is that she had taken a bath at the house she often stayed at and then headed into town. Two men were eventually arrested but were released later without charge. Detective Chief Inspector Tony O'Donnell, who is lead of the investigation, said she was a housewife and a mum to 3 young kids. They seemed to be her life, and then she developed this mental health problem and lost everything. Now, all this information was found from articles written back in 2005, and the case seemed to have gone cold, but there is some more information. In 2017, there was another article written to say that police have reopened Jennifer's investigation because they believe that Mark Dixie was involved. Now, if you don't know who Mark Dixie is, he is a 47-year-old man. Well, when the article was written, he was 47, so he's probably 48, going on 48 now. And this monster was given 2 more life sentences. His earliest release date is now between 2040 and 2045. As of November 24th, 2017. Mark started attacking women when he was just 16 years old, and at 16 he raped an office worker aged 44 in her car. He then proceeded to tie her up and started a fire before fleeing. Luckily she escaped. Then in 2002 he fractured a woman's skull by battering her with a chef's knife sharpener and then proceeded to sexually assault her. He then went on to sexually assault 3 women in Spain in 2003. And then he was finally jailed in 2008 for 34 years for the murder of model Sally Ann, who was just 18 years old. She was repeatedly stabbed and sexually assaulted yards from her home in Croydon, South London in 2005. Now, I know that was a bit long, but it is relevant because police believe that Mark may be linked to Jennifer's murder because he has used similar methods in the other attacks that he has confessed to. So hopefully after all of this time, they may have solved the mystery of Jennifer's death.